The time between now and Christmas is going to go faster than you think, so let's get into these Christmas bullet journal ideas quick. Our first idea I couldn't not include, and that is an advent calendar. Effectively, you just need a way to write down 24 or 25 things on either a page or a spread, and have some way to cover them so that you can lift the little cover and see what's underneath. The way that I've done this is just by using a piece of craft paper from my Archer and Olive notepad and then cutting out little windows for each of the days 1 through 25. Those little windows are just cut out with a craft knife, but sticking it down into my journal, I can then just flip those up and reveal whatever is underneath. Obviously, I haven't actually written anything in here, but you could fill it with fun things to do, movies that you want to watch that are Christmas related, holiday self-care kind of stuff, or whatever you want to. Our next idea is that of a Christmas countdown. Now, depending on when you want to start counting down, yours might need to be a little smaller or a little bigger than mine. But effectively, we have one little bauble for each of the days in the lead up to Christmas, and as you get to that day or that day passes, you just colour in the bauble in question. As you can see, mine are already coloured in because I was playing around with the colour palette for these layouts. And of course, all the equipment I used can be found in the description box below, including this super cute washi tape sticker set that inspired the colour palette and that I've used for pretty much all the decorations. The next idea is that of a sustainable Christmas plan, or essentially the steps that you're going to try and take to reduce your waste this holiday period. I have 5 ideas here, so recycled wrapping paper and boxes, renting your Christmas tree, low waste cooking, meat-free meals, and DIY Christmas crackers so that you don't have that plastic waste. But I'd love to hear about the other ideas that you guys have for a more sustainable holiday season. The sustainable Christmas plan idea came from Stationery Island, but flipping over and we have a Christmas budget layout. The holidays can be a very expensive time, so going in with a plan of what you want to spend your money on and how much money you want to spend in general can be really helpful. For this one, we've broken it down as a where are you going, so just additional information, what is your guest count going to be, and how many funds do you have available. We've then broken it down into different categories, the amount per count, so how much money per person or how much money per iteration of that thing. You then have a column for the count, so how many people, what number of that item are you going to need, and then the total cost, which you can then total up at the bottom. Another money-related layout is that of a Christmas spending log, so that you can hold yourself accountable to what you're actually spending your money on, or just so you can remember because, it's called the silly season for a reason, right? So that our spending doesn't get out of hand, we can write it down in a spending log. If you wanted more bullet journal ideas related to financial layouts, I do have a separate video for that one, so be sure to check it out. Over onto the right-hand page, our next idea is that of a Christmas cleaning list, and I've broken this one down by different areas of your house. It's just done as a checklist, so each of these boxes could be ticked off once you've completed that task, but we've got the kitchen, living room, bathrooms, bedrooms. You may want to make this list a little bit more detailed, so include things like a timeline for when you're going to be cleaning specific things, or you might want to make it a little bit more fun and make it more like a bingo board. You could of course also include a floor plan and write in the tasks for each room in the individual rooms, or what I've used this floor plan for is a decoration plan. So each of the items in green are an element of decoration, and we've written out what each of those are on the side here. So number 1 is the Christmas basket, number 2 are fairy lights, etc. This can be good for if you're having people help you decorate your house, in particular if you like to go pretty hardcore on your decoration, so they know which elements need to go in which places. Flipping over to the next page though, and our first idea on this spread is that of Christmas doodle ideas. I always like having a handy list of go-to doodles or decoration ideas, so having ones that are Christmas related that you can either use in your Christmas planner or just in the layouts that you're doing for Christmas could be helpful. This one up here is actually one of those washi stickers, but I thought it fit nicely into that space. Kinda goes with the whole doodle ideas theme. Under this, our next idea is that of a wrapping supplies checklist. It's always super annoying when you go to start a project and you don't have all the things you need for it, Christmas wrapping included, so making sure that you know which items you need and how much of them you need, and whether you've got them, can be super useful. As you collect the items, you can just tick them off to make sure that you have all of the things that you need. Under this, our next idea is that of a Christmas cards list, and this one is set up in a kind of Alistair style. So we have a column at the start to tick off when you've actually completed writing and sending that card. We have a column to write who it's to, and you could also put their address in here if you needed to. And then each of these icons represents another stage of the Christmas card writing process. So this one could be, do you know the address of the person? This one could be, have you written the letter? Have you put it in the envelope? Do you have the stamps you need for it? Have you sent it? Did you get one back? And then possibly this last one could be whether you're going to write them a card next year. Over onto the right hand page, and our first idea on this one is a Christmas gift list. I've set mine up based on the idea of having multiple gifts for each person. So we've got a box for mum, a box for dad, and a box for Matt. But you could of course just set this up in a list style. All of the layout ideas we have in here are just ideas. The next idea we have is that of Christmas stocking stuffers. And as you can see, I've drawn these out as little stockings with little bulleted lists inside them. And each of my stockings represents a different price bracket. So what are my ideas for $1 to $3? What are my ideas for $4 to $10? And what are the ones that will cost more than $10? Having a handy reference list can just be helpful. Under this, our next idea is that of a gift log. In this case, we have a column to write who the gifter was, so who you received the gift from, what that gift was, and then some columns on the side to represent the idea of the gift having arrived, possibly if it's being sent from somewhere else, whether that gift was reciprocated, and whether you sent some kind of thank you note or words of gratitude about that gift. If you want to log gifts for more than just yourself, you could also have a column to write who the gift was to as well. Over the page, and our next idea is that of Christmas favorites, or what are your favorite things around Christmas time? I've done this one kind of in a brainstorm style, so we've got my favorites in the middle, and then the different aspects that you can have favorites of or opinions regarding. So your favorite Christmas foods, your favorite clothes to wear around Christmas, any kind of traditions you have, which of course brings us to our next idea, which is a space to write out what your Christmas traditions are. A list like this could make for a really nice keepsake. Actually, a lot of these could make for really nice keepsakes, for if you want to pass your Christmas traditions or Christmas recipes, etc. on to future generations, or just anyone in particular. For example, two of our Christmas traditions is that we have chocolate breakfast. It used to be the chocolate that was in our stockings, but now it's more of a chocolate pancakes kind of thing. And for lunch, we typically have antipasta, so that we can have our full roast meal in the evening, just so that we don't run the oven in the early morning, because Christmas in New Zealand is typically hot, just as it was in Australia. Stepping away from our traditions, you can also look at traditions from other areas of the world. These could be traditions that you're trying to bring into your own kind of Christmas routines, or just ones you think were interesting. We mentioned it before, but our next idea is that of Christmas recipes. So writing down the recipes that you like to use at Christmas time, so they're all in the one place as a handy go-to. For instance, one of my favorite things to make at Christmas is Christmas cheese log. Keeping on the theme of food, our next idea is that of a meal plan, which I've again set up as a kind of Alistair style. Each of the letters represents which meal it's for, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack 1 and snack 2. We've got a space to write out what the item is, a space to denote when you're going to be preparing it, so the 22nd, 23rd, 24th or 25th, and then a place to tick off once it has been prepared. Doing it like this means that you can spread out your preparation across multiple days, which could be helpful. Another way to do something similar to that is with a timeline style, and the one down here is a baking list and timeline. So here we have our timeline. It is certainly not to scale, but 5 weeks before, maybe we're preparing our fruitcake, our pie dough, and our cheesecake, minus toppings. Don't worry, the cheesecake's gonna get frozen, so it'll be totally fine on Christmas Day. Having it as a timeline though means that you can make a stepwise plan for getting all of your food preparation done in advance. Very helpful. Speaking about making things yourself, our next idea is that of a DIY list, or things you want to do yourself in preparing for Christmas. You can see I really got into the idea of the Alistair method here, so we have a space to denote that you've had the idea or you've got the plans, a space to denote that you've got the materials, a space to say that you've started assembly, and then a space to say that it's done, and then a space to say that it's gone where it needs to. So if this is a gift, you've sent it to the person you need to send it to. If this is going to be home decor, then you've put it up, that kind of stuff. Something that I find very helpful around any kind of gift-giving period is that of wish lists. I never want to give people things that they don't realistically want or need. So having wish lists either for myself or other people can be very helpful. Having these spaces sectioned out in advance means that anytime somebody mentions to you that, oh hey, that looks cool, or oh, I've really wanted one of those things, you can note it down in the wish list for that person. The idea we have down the bottom here is that of a letter to Santa. This can either be a letter written by somebody else in your family, maybe a younger member of your family, or it could be a letter written by you. It can just be a way to kind of reflect on the year that's been, so telling Santa all the ways you've been good, maybe some of the ways you've been naughty, and also what your wishes for Christmas are. A layout type that I've seen a lot of people get very into is that of playlists. So maybe we also want to set up a playlist for Christmas. They don't have to strictly be Christmas songs, but more so songs that you enjoy listening to around the Christmas period. It doesn't have to be decorative like this one, it can just be a list, but as said, all of these are just ideas. Keeping on the media theme, our next idea is that of a Christmas movie marathon list. For each of these little ideas in the boxes, the little pink box is just a place to tick off once you've watched that movie. You could also write this one out in a timeline, so designating specific movies to specific days of the month or in the lead up to Christmas. Maybe Christmas isn't so much for you though. Maybe you're more into Halloween, and in that case, our next idea is a Creepmas celebration plan. Creepmas, technically speaking, is only supposed to be 13 days, but if you're the kind of person who loves Halloween and gets a little bit sick of Christmas encroaching on the Halloween season, maybe you want to celebrate Creepmas instead. So for our Creepmas plan, we have a baking list of things that are kind of Christmas related, but spooky. So maybe like skeleton gingerbread people, or jack-o'-lantern ornament cookies, or haunted holly cookies, something like that. We have a movies list of horror genre Christmas films, and then also some spooky decor. They got a little ghost that says summoning the Christmas spirit, which I also thought was cute. After this, our next idea is a Christmas day plan. And this one I've done a little bit more decoratively. So starting here, we're sleeping in, we're gonna have our chocolate breakfast, unwrapping presents, etc. This isn't my actual day plan, should probably run it past the family first, but having a kind of order of events so that you know what to expect on the day can be helpful. We're not necessarily trying to plan down to the minute here, but a general idea, that's what we want. Our next idea is that of Christmas wishes. And as noted here, it could just be a space for gratitude, any kind of well-wishings for others, affirmations, etc. Effectively just a space to journal out any wishings or well-wishings that you have for the holiday season. This could also be a place to write down your Christmas prayers if it has a spiritual significance to you. This could not be one of my idea videos without a bingo board, so we do of course have Christmas bingo. As mentioned here, you can just use it for memory keeping, you could use it for self-care, it could be for the entire holiday season or just the day, but I very much encourage you to make it a fun thing. As you can see, we've got a 4x4 grid here, and as these things happen, we would just colour in the box. You can of course set it up so that in getting your first vertical or diagonal or horizontal, you give yourself some kind of reward, but this one is just set up as if it's for fun. Once Christmas is over though, it could also be nice to have a Christmas memory keeping space. You can pre-decorate this with stickers or doodles, etc., but it can be a place for you to include some journaling, write down any special memories, put in some of the wrapping materials if you want to, stick in photographs from the day, anything that's akin to memory keeping for you. On a similar vein, our next idea is that of Christmas reflections. The one that I've set up does have a space to write down your memories, so the positive, negative, and neutral memories from your Christmas celebration, but it also has a place to reflect on the timeline and admin kind of things. So what things did you allow perfect amounts of time for? What things realistically needed some more time to prepare? And what kind of things were just too much effort? They didn't really pay off. We also got a note space at the bottom here. Of course, I've just tucked mine into the corner of a page, but you could use a 2-page spread or any amount of space that you need to do your reflections. It's effectively like a place to be like lessons learned, so that next time Christmas rolls around, you've got that feedback from your past self. The idea we have down the bottom here is that of a next year saving plan. As said at the start, Christmas can be an expensive time of the year, and getting in early with your savings is a worthwhile endeavor. In this one we have 4 boxes at the top, so we have the estimate that you gave for this year's spending, how much you actually spent this year, what your estimate for next year is, and plus a certain percentage, just to give yourself a little bit of buffer. Once you've got that amount, you can then divide it by the number of weeks that you want to save for, to give yourself the amount that you need to save per week. Then you can set yourself up some kind of little tracker, so that you can actually track your progress towards that savings goal. Whether you're a Christmas lover or not, I do hope these ideas have been helpful, but if you wanted even more bullet journal inspiration, then the playlists we have on screen here are going to be super helpful. I'll see you over there.